Good morning and welcome to our January 13th, 2022 Elected Council meeting of the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County. We're so grateful that you're here. As we come into this space, let us do a land acknowledgement. And as we've done these in the past, we've recognized different aspects. I want to also recognize labor today because we must also acknowledge that our country was built on the free enslaved labor of Black people, and that labor was violently enforced for hundreds of years. Let's honor the legacy of the African diaspora and Black life, knowledge and skills stolen due to white supremacy. As Californians, we must also remember our history of welcoming Chinese labor when we wanted low-wage workers to build the railroad, but our state and federal government turned our back on them with the Chinese Exclusion Act when the railroads were completed. And we were the home of many people displaced by the Japanese internment during World War II. As we recognize this, we also recognize our duty to work towards ending all forms of discrimination against any of our faith traditions and peoples. Let us move into our covenant.
In solidarity with one another, we each affirm our dialogue is an interfaith dialogue. We all have different communication styles and varying views. We commit to be in dialogue with respect for all, expanding listening to hear multiple points of view. We realize that we are responsible for the growth of I4C and that each of us shares a duty to interfaith growth. The governing board provides leadership and the elected council works towards progress and the fulfillment of I4C goals as we grow. Yeah, go for it.
We recognize that we are imbued with interfaith responsibility. As such, we commit to hold ourselves and each other accountable to merit that trust, respect for the diverse traditions, beliefs, and spiritual paths of all those we encounter, hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards and accountability to our communities and to I4C. Our shared time together is interfaith time. We commit to honoring the start and end times each time we meet.
Welcome, everyone. It's such a blessing and a gift to be here. I hope you all feel the same way. I'm sure you do. And should be an exciting year. Before we get started with the approval of the minutes, I just wanted to say hello and how I feel that all of you are such a wonderful, integral part of this community of interfaith. And I can't think of a better place to spend my Thursday mornings. I hope that you will share your gifts for the coming year in any way that you can, even if it means that you're just being a communicator to your church and your faith facility and to your community and to your friends, to letting them finding out if there's something that they could also be a service to. And if there's any problems, concerns, questions, please contact me or Will or even Dave Longhurst. I would be glad to point you in the right direction or talk to you about any matter that is of your concern. And it's an open communication line at any time. And let's move on from there. First, the minutes were sent out a while back and also attached to the agenda. May we proceed and approve of the minutes? Could someone, do we have to make a motion, Will?
One question. So if I'm not receiving the minutes or communications, how do I sign up for it?
Will you be sure to check the
I think I should have your email in the group email that comes out to folks, Ekanatha, so let's make sure that you and I are connecting.
Yeah, check with Will, make sure it's on, and I would make a case
I'm the one that sends those out.
Thank you very much.
Also, Will has the list. I hope you all have the contact list of members so that if you're somebody you want to contact in the group, you can. So if there's anything that needs to be updated, like if it's an incorrect email or the phone number, please let Will know, and we'll update that right away. Okay. May we go ahead and approve the minutes from the last December 2021 meeting? All in favor?
December 9th.
December 9th meeting.
Aye.
Just raise your hand would be good. Okay, thank you all.
And Dr. Dale is here and ready for his faith reflection.
This is wonderful. We're so excited to have Dr. Dale Weatherspoon from Easter Hills United Methodist Church and the GRIP program to give us his faith reflection today.
Good morning, all. I hope everyone can hear me, and it's good to be with the Interfaith Council, this first meeting of the new year. And so I want to share a couple of things. One, I'm Dale Weatherspoon. I'm a United Methodist pastor. I'm married to a pastor, a United Methodist pastor. We have two boys, 20 and 16 years old. I've been pastoring for about 20 plus years, and I've pastored 5 churches. 4 have been what we call cross-racial, cross-cultural, meaning usually there's no one or 2 people in the congregation that look like me. I've pastored predominantly Euro-American congregations in the South Bay until about 5.5 years ago, when the bishop moved us to the East Bay, and I've been at Easter Hill United Methodist Church since July 1st of 2017. It's a predominantly African-American congregation that was founded in 1951. So we didn't get to celebrate our 70th anniversary in person last year, but we're gonna try to do that as soon as this pandemic slows down. I am the 10th pastor of this congregation, and this congregation has had in its DNA social justice, education, and service. Persons in the congregation have served as mayors of Richmond, have served on city council, have served on the water district, have been school principals and teachers. And GRIP has been a part, Easter Hill has been a part of GRIP since GRIP's beginning in 1966. GRIP was founded, like I say, in 1966, 55 years ago. It's a multicultural, multi-ethnic coalition of congregations, 41 congregations from various faith traditions working together as a diverse and inclusive coalition dedicated to helping those of our community in need to transition to self-sufficiency. Over the years, GRIP, in keeping with its mission, has evolved from a small community food pantry to a multi-service agency which serves over 15,000 homeless, hungry, and low-income consumers annually. GRIP is the only family shelter in West Contra Costa County. It is open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. There are 5, we call it 3 core services. I say 5 service areas. GRIP is mostly known for its super center, which feeds folks daily. We served in December alone, we served 1,965 lunches. With this pandemic, we've gone from doing hot lunches to bag lunches. We were just coming back to doing hot meals and bag lunches until the pandemic spiked. And so now we're going back to just doing the bag lunches. Anybody can come and receive a lunch. You don't have to be a resident of GRIP. Anybody can come to receive a lunch. But the shelter residents do receive breakfast and dinner, as well as lunch if they are on the premises, not away working. The shelter has 65 beds and can sleep about 70 folks, depending on the family arrangement. Currently, we have about 50 residents. They are single parent families, 2-parent families. They're a diverse population of ethnicities, and the kids that are school age do go to school. And we actually have a teen center in the building so the teens can hang out and watch TV and do their homework. We have a resource center. And so as people come to GRIP, they can get showers. They can also receive their mail. They can set up like a PO box, right? And they receive their mail at GRIP. In December, we provided showers for 294 people. 487 people came to receive their mail. So they're getting their Social Security checks and other benefits and communications. They picked that up at GRIP. We had about 78 volunteers in the month of December. That number is usually higher, but as we know, the pandemic has changed a lot of things. So our resource center is that place that provides needs for our folks. They can come and receive clothing that's donated to the GRIP Center. Then we also have case management. Folks lose their driver's license. They're trying to get VA or Social Security benefits, those kind of things. And so we're helping people to get to self-sufficiency. Folks that are working can put money in an account so that when they're ready to move out, they have money to help pay for their housing and other needs. Case management, we also work with the county to try to get resources, connect folks up with various resources. And then lastly, we have the VA housing. We have an apartment building next door to GRIP that has 8 units. They're all single studios. So no families are able to live there. And we're actually in discussion now, can we open up this housing to more than just veterans? So those are the kind of 5 service areas that we provide at the Greater Richmond Interfaith Program. Our board is made up of 15 board members. We can have up to 15 board members. Currently, we have about 10 board members that represent various faith traditions and 1 business organization. So we are looking for new board members, and we're looking for people particularly that have experience with HR, with finance, and fund development. So if you are interested, please, please, please let me know. Amen. Our organization is made up of 41 member congregations of various faith traditions. And so a lot of those congregations, places of worship, come and they serve food, they donate clothing, they donate food. Some churches have GRIP in their budget, and so they're donating financially and helping to get the word out. Most of our board members are from these member congregations. Our funding comes primarily from the Harmony Walk. We've just done, the last 2 years, we had to do a virtual Harmony Walk because of the pandemic. But we've done a Harmony Walk for 35, 36 years now. And so that's one of our primary fundraisers. We do a lot of grant writing. So we receive grants from the city, from the county, from the state, and even federally. We get donations from business organizations and community organizations, and we get a number of donations from individuals. So if any of you want to donate to GRIP, you'd be helping to meet a good cause. We are in the midst of transition right now. We have an interim executive director that's been with us for 3.5 months that's doing fantastic work. And in about another 3 months or so, we hope to have a permanent executive director on board. And so GRIP is just vital in the community. It's kind of, to some folks, it's a well-kept secret. They think we only do the soup kitchen, but GRIP is so much more than that. And so if you're looking for a mission or ministry for your place of worship, please consider GRIP. As I say, it is the only family shelter. There are some other shelters here in West County, but it is the only family shelter. So we seek to keep the children with the parents. Okay, I'm going to stop there. If anyone has any questions.
I do.
Yes, yes.
Do you? I have two questions. The first one is, what did you do during the COVID shutdown? For example, I know that the adult continuum of service in North Concord, they housed many of their people in a hotel. What did you do? And do you have any relationship with the adult center in Concord?
I'm not sure if we have a relationship with the adult center, but GRIP has not closed throughout this whole pandemic. We were actually hired by the county to run Project Turnkey. And so we had over 200 folks, close to 300 folks at the Marriott Hotel up at Hilltop. And we did that from April of 2020 to June of 2021. I think another organization is running that now. So we are back just to the shelter at 165 22nd Street. We have not shut down. We are doing testing. We're asking folks to wear the mask. We have test kits so we can test every day if we need, or people ask for COVID testing. Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that I didn't misinform everybody that the other place didn't shut down. They just moved everybody and they remodeled their facility. But you kept running it even though it was at the Hilltop, right?
We were running the Hilltop as well as the 165. We were doing both.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. We just had a major remodel. Lowe's came in with 100 volunteers one day, and they put down new carpet. They did painting. They planted new gardens. They just did a ton of work to help transform the facility. We've been working with Najee Harris, who's the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a graduate of Alabama, and he was a resident. He and his family were a resident of the shelter, and so he wanted to give back, and so he working with his team and Lowe's, they came in and did some phenomenal work. So we're in the midst of completing that renovation.
That is so wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those.
This is.
I have
This Pastor Chris. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
How about raising your hands, Carolyn? You had a question, and then Dennis.
I have a question, Reverend, about the organizations. I'm not sure you can help us with this, but some are nonprofits that seem to have some need, of course, to profit because they have salaries to make. But they don't seem to be really doing what the people need. Like the North Concord shelter, they're getting jail tray meals. Is there any, what's an ideal situation? It sounds like you've got an ideal situation. The folks up at the North Concord shelter, there's 50 there now, and they have an arrangement where they don't even have any socializing room, mostly elderly ill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heartbreaking story in my view.
Yeah.
Comment?
Yeah. Well, I think it's from a scriptural point, we're one another's brothers and sisters. We're to care for one another. And so that's why we have these 41 member congregations, and we seek volunteers to come in and help. We have a needs list. I think it's up on our website, gripcares.org. But we have a needs list. And so people will donate things like toilet paper at clinics. People donate toothbrushes and toothpaste. People bring in clothing. Folks that are at the shelter, some are trying to go back to work and they don't have the proper attire. And so there's clothing. We had a giveaway for the kids during Christmas. And so we gave, somebody donated a number of bikes. And so we were able to give bicycles and toys to the kids. And so we're really trying to focus on the families and help people to be self-sufficient. We don't have as many we have one person on our staff that speaks Spanish, and we could probably use someone else, another person that speaks Spanish. Because as I said, our residents, our consumers are diverse. We're always trying to ask our consumers what it is that they need. So we're trying to meet the needs of the folks. The meals that we give were mostly fresh cooked. We get food from the food bank and what is it? Hello Fresh. Is that the name of the organization? Hello Fresh. And some of our churches donate non-perishable items.
Thank you.
What is your website?
I think it's gripcares.org.
What?
Grip, 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 cares.org.
Thank you.
Dennis?
Yeah, Dale, do you have a program that transitions people from being homeless or being in a shelter to having housing? Is there a program? And then the second part of the question is, do you keep in touch with the alumni from your organization and how they succeeded and done?
We do try to keep, as far as I know, we try to keep in touch with some of the alumni, if you will. That's how we were in touch with Najee Harris. So we do try to follow some folks. We work with the county housing navigator to trying to find placement for folks. We are trying to do more classes. We did that in the past. I think we're trying to get back to that, like doing financial literacy classes and how to acquire homes and those kind of classes, so people have the skills and the knowledge that they need to make the transition successfully.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Please keep GRIP in your prayers. And as we say, if you're looking, your organization, congregation is looking for a place to volunteer, please consider GRIP. If you're looking for a place to make a donation where you know that the money is going to be well used and help folks, please consider GRIP. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're looking to have anybody is looking to be involved with a community organization and serve on a board, please let them know that GRIP is a possibility, particularly if they have fund development, HR, or finance experience, because that's what we need right now.
And I'm just gonna say that if do you guys if your church needs a place to serve meals, I would say GRIP, or contact me if you'd like to help out at the North Concord shelter. Thank you. It's such a needed service.
Yes.
Shall we go on, Will? Keep me on time. Am I okay?
Well, not quite, but we can make a quick announcement of our new governing board members, and we need to give Meg the time to make her presentation on iChange. Right. Let me share these.
If you did get your agenda, it does have this on the has this on your agenda there, so it is. But again, if contact Christine if you're interested in development and rapid response, and Meg Healy for iChange, along with, of course, Reverend Julius and any Soja events, Dennis Wasco, and so that's our class for the coming for this new year. Should we go ahead and get to the iChange?
Okay, sure. So as all of you know, I hope you all received the e-blast. We are launching our trainings on Wednesday, February 2nd at 5:30 till 7. And we're very excited about getting started. Just a quick update is that we are receiving a lot of encouragement from probation, and and they're very excited for us to start. Mentors will be using Zoom on a temporary basis. We'll be allowed to use Zoom, so that was something new that we hadn't realized before, once they've established a relationship with young people. So we've been pretty concerned about the fact that Juvenile Hall has been closed down to visitors, and so we're going to have to adjust to that and make the best of it in terms of getting our mentors in. Right now we have 11 people who have shown interest in, who have signed up, and that's very exciting. It seems like everything we've done has brought in 1 or 2 people. So the e-blast, the new changes to the website, all of these things, sending out letters to former volunteers. I met with Rossmore tutors, and several of those people are interested in receiving the training. I met with the Rossmore Interfaith and gave the presentation the other day, and we were putting together an article that's going to be in the Rossmore News. So we're putting out a whole lot of different things that are going to, again, keep enthusiasm up and hopefully get more volunteers. And I guess the other thing is that our training schedule will be on Zoom as opposed to being in person. We'd hope to have at least one session a week in person, but we're not going to be able to do that during the concerns around COVID. And I guess that's a quick and dirty version of what we're doing. Just thank you all for all your support. Please keep us in your prayers that this all goes well. There's always a little nervousness in starting something new, but we're very excited. And I have to tell you that the people that are signing up are just wonderful, amazing backgrounds. Many of them have worked with youth, speaking Spanish, backgrounds in workplace, all kinds of exciting backgrounds. So we're really looking forward to meeting these people and beginning our training and then getting them in with the kids, because that's ultimately what we want. Are there any questions?
There's a special email there for you for this project, mek.ichange@gmail, that folks can share, and it's in the insert in the newsletter that's coming out, and I'll be pointing out other ways that you can find the information to share with members of your congregation. Any other questions for Meg?
Yes, I have a question. Meg, how many volunteers are you wanting to recruit?
I think we don't have a number specifically. I'm very happy with what we've got right now, to tell you the truth. Because I guess I'm happy to have a kind of smaller group to begin with, because we're going to have to work through a lot of logistics. So, eventually we will have another cohort, possibly in the fall or in summer. And so I think we want to get these people really well established. And I think having a manageable number, this feels pretty good, maybe up to 16 would be a nice number, and just getting them started and supported and comfortable with and all of us get comfortable with what we're doing. And if we need to make any adjustments to training or anything like that, we can do that before we get a huge group going.
And Meg, how many do you have now? How many volunteers do you
We have
now?
11 right now.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Meg? The other thing that I'll just point out is that in our agenda, we're only hearing from one of our reports, and the rest of the reports are put in writing inside your agenda. I'm going to share a little bit about my ED report and just pointing out a few things, like we were able to add these 3 iCare videos from our annual meeting to our YouTube channel, and they're there now to share as separate, or they're kind of together in the iCare playlist. Upcoming events we have, Soja is not hosting an MLK Day service. And so we're encouraging all of our members to look at the different events that are already going on around the county and to find one to join there. And we got a micro grant of $500 from a group that just did a new mini documentary called We Are All Newtown. And if you're interested in helping me show this 20-minute documentary about the faith response to Newtown, Connecticut, and the mass shooting there at Sandy Hook, talk to me, and we'll do that. We're looking for East and West County congregations. The Bay Area Interfaith Leaders Conversation was going to be on February 6th. It's been postponed. We're still coming up with what that's going to look like for February 2nd. But Dr. Ijaz Naqvi is going to be teaching about his experience on Hajj and Islam's role in creating the beloved community at our February 6th Nurturing the Beloved Community Retreat. We've scheduled Chief Philip Scott's going to do a retreat on February 27th in East County. And our International Women's Day program is coming together. But if you have any suggestions for panelists or musicians, talk to me or Diane or Susie. And then May 1st, we're going to be continuing our Nurturing the Beloved retreats with Chief Philip Scott. And of course, inside your packet, there's information about our Coping with Nationalism's program series. And one of the things that I was hoping to point out to you today, and I'm sorry that there's all this extra noise here because my roof is being replaced, but when we send out our agendas, we're trying to put more of it in writing so that you have something that you can refer to every month that's timely, that you can share with your congregation's office. We put our iCare report in there. The iChange report is in there, a Soja report. There's even a development report from Christine Nadeau. And then we put this Coping with Nationalisms in the form of a flyer so that you can share it there as well. If somebody's coughing, please mute yourself. I've also tried to organize some of our programs like the Interfaith Skills series together into one playlist where they're easy to find, all in one trio there as well. And even the newsletter, this is the first time we've been sending the newsletter electronically with our agenda. And we'd really like you to consider who in your congregation, as you're reading through this, might be interested in some of the information, because you've got information about iChange on the front. You've got a great goodbye message from Dr. Erica, the outgoing chair, and an incoming letter from Diane here, and you'll always get a little something from me as well. But there's great information about the upcoming iCare projects planned, Chaplain's Corner from Reverend Julius, information about iCare. Are there folks in your congregation that would want to be a part of some of our upcoming field trips? We're going to try and do 2 or 3 of these a year, or that would want to be a part of our retreats. Can you give this to your office manager at your congregation to be able to share some of this information that's out there? Dr. Amir Raim wrote a great little article on Omicron, information about Soja and our monthly Meaningful Mondays, which is now our next meeting is going to be talking about part 2, the Doctrine of Discovery from the Coping with Nationalism series. And then we try to list some of our big events coming up, and a little bit from ICANN, and a great little article from Albert Kiefner, a member of our ICANN, about something he learned on our field trip. And then, of course, we have our listing of prayer partners and how to submit things for our things there as well. So we try to get this to you more in writing these days so that you can share them. They're in PDF, so the link should work to get you to these Eventbrite or to our website links as well. And so we really encourage you to use these as tools, not just for your own edification, but please be thinking of who can I share this with in my congregation, or maybe even those 5 congregations that are closest to me that I want to build relationships with. Diane, why don't you take us into our interfaith dialogue for the day?
So the question today in our group discussion will be, how do you mark or celebrate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's Junior Day? And maybe think about how it's changed for you. Maybe it's changed, maybe it hasn't changed, maybe it always means the same. And I did attach for us the reading of the of his Birmingham letter. If you had a chance to read it, great, but it's not mandatory. So but if you feel like bringing that up, that would be fine too. So should we go into the group discussions, Will? And we're pretty good for time. You did your report really fast, Will. So when do you want to call us back so we know?
Sorry, I'm getting the breakout rooms organized. Let's come back at least 22.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, at least we can do a little bit of a harvest.
And while he's doing that, if you're new, what we do in the Interfaith Council is take this time to share with one another our thoughts and on a subject. And more than welcome, if you feel that there's a subject you want me to ever bring up, you can email me that idea. But we take this time to share, and it's very important to get to know one another in these small groups. And then we come back and we will have highlights. So one person in the group should kind of take notes or do the highlights of that group. And then we kind of like that in writing, just a brief couple sentences on what you felt was important. And then we will add that to the minutes for the next meeting. And then Will can glean the minute, help me glean that. So if you can write up a brief on what you've discussed in your group. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Julia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Long time no see. How
I
you
know, right? I'm good. So I've officially joined the external relations team. So Jonathan and I will be switching on and in these meetings. So it's
Great.
thank
Welcome.
you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Everyone meet Julia Abramson from JCRC. She or Jonathan will be taking Jessica's spot, visiting and keeping up with our work and conversations. All right, we're in the time where we're sharing things that we were able to share during our conversation. And let me just open up a new Word document and start taking a few notes as we do this. Let's start with room one. And Dennis Wasco, Greg Kremenliev, Sarah Brett Hauer, Susie Cole, Zula Reeves. Who is your recorder?
I am the recorder.
All right, Dennis, take us away.
Yeah, we started out talking about what we do or do not do in regard to celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King. And it seemed like there's some celebrations, there's some education going on and so on. But from there, we went to how, the whole issue of racism. And we spent most of our time actually talking about that. And about just the ups and downs of the whole racism movement, that it seems to peak when something happens and then, it kind of goes away. But in our group, we were lucky enough to have Zula Reeves with us, and she offered the perspective of a person of color, and it was very moving and very thought-provoking as she talked about some of the evils that she has had to endure, and how when things happen to any Black person, it happens to her. And so she has been giving classes on racism to, I guess, mainly white folks. And she offered to us and to all of Soja the fact that she would come and talk. And so her contact information is in the chat room. And if anyone would like to have her come and talk and share her experiences and so on, that would be a wonderful thing. I guess most of us were, are kind of in the category of the people that do good, as Dr. Martin Luther King would call them, the moderate liberals that he was talking about in his letter. And that we want to do good. We know that something has to be done, and yet what do we actually do? And so I think that was pretty much the gist of what we had. Anybody have anything else to add from our group?
That was a good rundown. Thank you. From me.
Great, thanks. Room 2 is.
I'll just speak that I really mean it from my heart, because I know that it's hard for you to understand it if you haven't lived it. And I have, and I am willing to come and share and help people, all of you, to understand what it means, because we have to keep this going. Thank you.
Thank you for that gracious offer, Zula. We really appreciate you and your heart. Room 2, Christine Nadeau, Dr. Dale Weatherspoon, Leonard Doran, myself, and Maren Stanzik. Maren, take it away. Don't hear you yet, Maren.
Sorry. How about that? Is that better? Group 2 started out kind of talking about the fact that there wasn't an awful lot going on at our churches. I think that's an effect of COVID and the fact that we're not getting together so much. That's a personal observation. But anyway, we talked particularly about the importance of the Martin Luther King letter. Will offered a study sheet that has 12 themes from that letter. I think that if you ask him, he would be able, he would send it to you to, help people in your church or your church organize in understanding the important things that were going on. We shared a number of personal experiences, and then also got into talking a little bit, Will was talking about the beloved community and the need for understanding other people and how they work and how we can work together. As a specific example, Dale talked about the Food for Thought food collection that he participated, or his church participated in West County, where they were able to work through the schools to get anonymously to families who needed food, and described a very interesting and major collection of produce that his church, his organization worked on. And there was another church that was collecting canned goods in boxes that were delivered to the schools to be delivered to people. And they are hoping to find a similar kind of thing to do in East County. It's a little more difficult because of the difference in how the system is set up, or the availability of the schools or willingness of the schools to act as an intermediary to protect the identities of the families that are getting food like this. It was a eye-opening kind of thing to see some of the things that are going on and to recognize the importance of, instead of just thinking about Dr. Martin Luther King, to use his example as a goad to get involved in service. It's going to help other people. Anything I missed?
Well said. Thank you. Room 3, Ben Jones, Ekanatha Pai, Reza Sharifzadeh, Sabra Suharwardi.
Thank you, Reverend Will. It's a privilege to be here. I'm going to briefly talk about room 3. Before I start, I would refer to the basic steps in nonviolent campaign by Dr. King. Number 1 is collections of the fact to determine whether injustice exists. Number 2, negotiation. Number 3, self-purification. Number 4, direct actions. So our team, group 3, which composes of Christianity, Catholicism, and Buddhism, Baha'ism, and Islam, and Islamic Sufism, all agreed in the core of his methodology of self-purification. And that was the non-violence approach. And how effective and influential his approach has been, and it has been proved that it had worked. And part of it comes from Gandhi's approach and Gandhi's philosophy. And as Mr. Ikanada mentioned, Gandhi's approach has come from yoga philosophy, which self-restraint and self-focusedness and peaceful actions are the core. And in any other faith, those are the core elements that Dr. King was emphasizing on, not going from extreme one side to the extreme the other side, but stay balanced and be peaceful. And as Mr. Okello mentioned, he had defended a Black community, and he had a elevated dream for the mankind and the Black community, and he was successful. He reached and brought out a lot of peaceful objective into mankind and Black community. So in overall, every faith celebrate Dr. Luther King, and is thankful that we had a blessing to have such individuals as him, Gandhi, and others to be there to help humanity in the directions of peace and tranquility, as the logo of the Interfaith is, a world of peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Room 4, David Longhurst, Diane Maltester, Julia Abramson, Mohammed Chaudhry.
We had a wonderful discussion. Muhammad felt that Dr. Martin Luther King was one of his heroes. He was inspired about how he achieved nonviolence in his stand against injustice and equality for all people. And he gave a quote, I'm not sure I'm quoted it correctly, but injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. In his community, they celebrate MLK Day and try to emulate him, emulate what he stood for in his community. They try to follow his philosophy and be reminded every year. It is important, he talked later, it is important that we not just remember words, his words and sacrifice, but we need to be living his words. Discrimination in any form is intolerable. Look at the beauty of Martin Luther King's language, how his words revolutionized the soul. And for Julia, this year it will be due to her situation with her fellow roommate has COVID. They will not be going out and doing service events, but it'll be a day of reflection. And she points out how this pandemic has brought forward the injustices that are still occurring in America. She gave an interesting bit of information, if she doesn't mind my sharing. She says it's do service if you can, but then she said 25% of the Jewish households in the Bay Area have a person of color in them. I thought that was really interesting. Dave Longhurst talked about how, again, his church might not necessarily pay as much attention, but individually, MLK had a profound effect, and talked about the role of nonviolence. And for both David and I, we both grew up with kind parents who did not want to deal with the conflict that was being created, what they perceived as conflict, instead of supporting the injustices. But even though our parents, we as children of parents who saw this, we both were very profoundly affected by Martin Luther King, and especially growing up in the Bay Area with all the other Black groups that were a little bit more violent. We still found it very important to be more of justice minded. Does that make sense at all?
Thanks. Room 5 and room 6, quickly, just 1 or 2 minutes each, if you don't mind. Dr. Erica Baines, Felicity Grove, Ginny Ali. Room 5.
Okay, I can speak for our group representing Baha'i faith, paganism, and Sikh. Sikh and Christianity. We spoke of ways that our congregations and faith groups and individuals try to do social service and justice work individually that are and I think, but the emphasis in our group was on children and how children are being educated. And Erica spoke a lot about her group and how they give the children essays to write in their school. And so they are writing about brotherhood, the universal brotherhood, and emphasizing how we are all one. We also spoke about how some children are not taught those things or taught in different ways that can be harmful and separatist. So that was some concern as well.
I'll bring in room 6, which one of the bringing up what you just finished with the children. Rebecca's a grammar school teacher, and she was really heartened by how many children are very mindful of injustices and willing to work towards more social equity in their own little limited way. And Marianne of the Jewish community was saying that their calendar for liturgical remembrances takes them from the Torah with crossing the Red Sea and the lesson of redemption and freedom, and how that coincides with Martin Luther King Day this year. And she did add, within the Jewish faith, there's a saying, if you saved one life, you've saved the world. We didn't focus so much on larger social issues, but on the focus of individuals making that one difference and making small changes.
Thanks for everyone sharing. I've taken some little minutes, but if you wouldn't mind, please do send responses to our dialogue for our minutes to me and Diane, if you wouldn't mind. And then Father Tom had to be somewhere else this morning, and so I'm going to share his closing remarks, especially on understanding the Feast of Christmas, Christmastide and Epiphany, because there's a lot of diversity within Christian traditions about the way that these different celebrations get celebrated, and a greater diversity even in the way that we look at the Holy Family, with greater cultural diversities as we look at it. But a lot of our faith traditions light a lot of candles. Some use Advent candles and some don't. Some focus on December 25th and some focus more on January 6th on Epiphany, especially with the I wish I had this. There's a picture of a fresco, but the celebrations of Christmas really only go back to the 300s and 400s. It's kind of a late developing celebration, and it might have even been created out of spiritual jealousy of other traditions that had really great winter solstice or other kinds of celebrations. And eventually took over a lot of those celebrations and appropriated a lot of those cultural aspects. But we can see that there's a lot of reclaiming of the Christ child in different cultures, Chinese, African American. And then, of course, when you look at the way Eastern Orthodox used iconography for the Holy Family, that's a really good example of Eastern Orthodox iconography there. In fact, if you go into almost any Eastern Orthodox of any of the 13 patriarchates, there's usually a picture of the Theotokos with the Christ child and another picture of an adult Jesus. But a lot of the celebrations in Eastern Orthodoxy focus more on January 6th and Epiphany, and especially the gift giving, focusing on January 6th. And especially the further east you go, it seems the further more towards January 6th and the gift giving and the celebration more towards that, towards the 12th day of Christmas. Because if you think about it, January 25th, only being 3 days after the solstice, when the sun starts to return in earnest after the winter solstice, those next 12 days of Christmas, that different cultures would have different things to celebrate, would have celebrated the coming of the three magi, or the three teachers from the east. Doug, one of our former Baha'i members, actually wrote a book on that these Persian magi were Zoroastrians. He wrote a historical novel as if that were the case. But one of the interesting things about Christmas and Epiphany is that 100 years ago and these last few years, a lot of folks have really struggled with being on lockdowns, and didn't always do very well in protecting others or wanting to wear masks and other things like that. So we'll let that be our good cautious word as we celebrate the things that are most holy to us. Let us be sure to make room for others to celebrate what is most holy for them. And let us not only envision, but live out what it means to be a world of interfaith peace. Thanks for being here together today. And are there any other announcements that need to be made with the brief minute that we may have in our time together?
I'll speak. Here we've created a beautiful moment here, and I would like for all of us to be able to carry that feeling that we have right now out there in the love and the faith that we all carry to everybody. Thank you.
Amen. Have a great week, folks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Just a reminder to feel free to invite someone to our AC meetings.
Oh yeah, February can be an invite your friend to Interfaith Council meeting, as it says in your agenda. Come check out this meeting online with me on a Thursday morning. Who knows what we'll be talking about?
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Will.
month. See you.
Thank you all.
Be well.
Bye, everybody.
We're excited about iChange. Tell your friends about iChange.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,